Every region of the world has some form of tattooing, but for the majority of people, Japan stands out for having a particularly vibrant tattoo culture. Considering that irizumi, or traditional Japanese tattooing, has a long history in Japan and that contemporary tattoo culture in the West frequently borrows directly from Japanese aesthetics and symbols, the tattooed traveler should be informed that many Japanese people do not favorably view tattoos. Any visitor to Japan will probably discover that getting tattoos makes things more difficult for them, particularly if they wish to utilize a pool, spa, gym, or attend traditional settings like a ryokan. This is because of a prevalent anti-tattoo view and Japan's troubled history with regard to tattooing. Before we proceed, kindly return the favor and like and subscribe. While there are many locations where a foreign visitor with tattoos can display their ink as they might normally expect to, public streets, subways, most restaurants, etc., and may even receive quiet or overt compliments, visiting Japan for the tattooed traveler requires additional preparation and cultural sensitivity. Being a foreigner won't get you an exemption in locations where tattoos are prohibited. It is quite uncommon to see uncovered tattoos in Japan, unlike many other modern-day nations. In Japan, many tattoo enthusiasts completely cover their ink for both social and professional reasons. Even Yakuza members usually limit their elaborate tattooing to skin-covered regions. This does not imply that no one in Japan enjoys or has tattoos. There is a silent uprising in Japan against these established laws and social mores, but it will be a while before body art is accepted widely or before persons who adore tattoos and who design them are not in some circles penalized in some way. For instance, a number of significant Japanese companies explicitly forbid tattoos on employees, and the right-wing mayor of Osaka made headlines a few years ago by demanding to know whether any government employees had tattoos, even cover ones, and making it apparent that he wanted them fired. Even while it baffles and frustrates many tattoo enthusiasts, Japan's tense relationship with tattoos has firmly ingrained cultural roots, and that won't soon alter. Anyone who has encountered set rules in Japan will be aware that under no circumstances is it probable that anyone, native or foreign, will have any luck breaking those restrictions. Japanese people are not naive. Thus, it is not as simple as they'll think you're a Yakuza. They are aware that the tall white man carrying a rucksack and sporting a dolphin tattoo is not a member of a neighborhood gang. But having a tattoo will still get you kicked out of some places, generally with some tact and shame. There isn't a clear, concise solution to this, but most people agree that it goes beyond simply keeping Yakuza out of bathhouses. Although the exact beginning of tattooing in Japan is unknown, we do know that it once took a sinister turn. Criminals were frequently brandished with tattoos during the Edo era, 1603 to 1868, as an embarrassing and permanent reminder of their criminal history. In the meantime, tattoos were also connected to firefighters who wore them as a form of spiritual defense. Tattoos were made prohibited during the Meiji period, 1868 to 1922. When Japan started to open up to the West and tried to make a good impression on foreigners, albeit the ban didn't persist, but the stigma persisted, at least for a while. Notably, several individuals with those tattoos started concealing them with distinctive and lovely body art. Despite being formally outlawed, tattooing persisted among Japan's lower classes or working class population. Thanks to foreign sailors in the 19th century, the Japanese tattoo, which was still considered illegal for citizens of its homeland, rose to prominence on a global scale. But in 2001, the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare issued a decree that prohibited anyone who wasn't a licensed healthcare provider from puncturing someone's skin with a needle and injecting ink. The enforcement of this lay with the local authorities in each prefecture. The original order was to target permanent makeup, cosmetic tattooing, not tattoo artists, in response to a number of occurrences and issues that were occurring at the time. This didn't affect tattoo artists until recently, though some authorities are now seriously enforcing the medical practitioners' law against them. One can understand why there may not be many properly licensed Japanese health professionals choosing to launch a new career as a tattoo artist in a nation where tattoos and tattoo artists are still subject to discrimination. Years of training and experience are necessary for these professions. Additionally, this law is not simply for show. Tattoo artists were actually arrested in 2015 for tattooing people without a physician's license, after instances in Osaka and Nagoya. In summary, tattoos are a complex issue in Japan, even for the foreign tourist, for a variety of cultural, political, legal, and societal reasons. In the vast majority of locations in Japan, tattoos are acceptable. However, regrettably, there are certain locations where they are not. Here are some things you should be aware of if you are traveling to Japan with tattoos. 1. Tattoos should be entirely covered at all pools, gyms, and the majority of water parks and beaches. In these places, tattoos are typically flatly prohibited in Japan, and there are frequently obvious signs saying this. Even though the Japanese are known for their politeness and lack of confrontation, disobeying the signs will make you feel uncomfortable and perhaps result in a confrontation. You might just be instructed to put your shirt on, or in other circumstances, you might be requested to kindly leave. 2. Many ryokans, Japanese inns, won't welcome guests with tattoos. A ryokan, or traditional Japanese inn, stays a memorable experience. However, tattoos are not seen favorably in conventional settings like ryokans. Even in a more advanced and constantly changing Japan, this is still the case. According to reports, the Japanese tourism agency in 2015 polled 3,800 ryokan across the nation on how they treated visitors with tattoos. The results weren't encouraging. 56% of respondents claimed they turned away visitors who had tattoos, 31% said they didn't, and 13% said they allowed entrance if the tattoos were covered. Even though more ryokans are being urged by the Japanese tourism agency to stop discriminating against foreigners with tattoos, it still takes place. It's best to be aware of the ryokan's policy and to conceal your tattoos just in case, so that you won't be turned away when you arrive. Even a ryokan that has granted you access and is aware of your tattoo will likely appreciate it if you cover it up when in the inn's public areas. 3. Tattoos are not permitted in onsens, hot springs. Almost every public onsen will prohibit you from entering if you have a tattoo. This is challenging because no clothes, including swimsuits, is allowed in Japanese onsens, and even the most benign butterfly tattoo is forbidden. I haven't done it, but it's supposedly fairly accepted for Westerners to cover tattoos with a bandage in these settings. That could not be feasible as well, depending on the size of your tattoo. 4. At any temple or revered place, you ought to think about hiding your tattoos. In Japan, there are numerous signs indicating where they are prohibited. However, any Japanese person will tell you that hiding tattoos at temples and shrines as a sign of respect is very appreciated. You won't often see these at temples. Do it if you can. 5. It helps to plan ahead. Before you approach the desk or are observed by local personnel, I advise you to enter one of these surroundings if you want to cover up, because they will be really ashamed to have to deny you entry. If your Japanese isn't very good, you'll probably be stuck in a protracted exchange trying to convey that you'll cover your tattoos inside. In Japan, rules are highly important, and since almost all swimming pools, onsens, and gyms have a no tattoo policy, a foreigner approaching the counter with tattoos visible is bound to raise suspicion. That is acceptable as long as you keep your tattoos hidden. Do not enter certain environments if you cannot conceal yourself. And now, let us hear from you in the comments section below. Keep in mind that more videos will be up soon, so be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell in order to stay up to date with new video uploads. Also, sharing indicates you want to see our content reach a wider audience. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.